Hey guys, today we are going to focus on creating a yearbook. Of course, it will be electronic since we didn't get actual yearbooks. So here's how we want you to do it. What we're going to do is you're going to enter your code to join a library. And once we have that library, you're going to create your own book, which you've done before and you know how to do. Then you're going to create a cover. I have here an example from last year. So in this book cover, you will see that the person who created it put her name on it, the year, and then it named it yearbook. You can name your book however you want. However, we do want you to put your name on it so that we know that it's yours. After that, after you create your from cover, which really can be anything, it can be a picture of you, it can be a picture that kind of describes you from a Google search. It can really be anything as long as it is school appropriate. And it obviously has your name so that people know who it belongs to when we get to the signing part. So you'll create your book, create your cover, and inside the book, you're going to create a few memories. We know that in a way you weren't in school, like in person at all, or partially for the year. So, what we want you to do is really tell us a little bit about you during this year or some experiences that you may remember during your school year. You may not have been in person, but you still had moments with your teacher that you would always remember or that you may want to remember. Like when Miss J did something funny, or when Miss Boyer will always talk to the microphone and she was muted. So little things like that that can remind you of um, who your teacher was and funny moments or things that you did with your friends. Okay, so in this case, last year at this point, there was a gender reveal for the teacher, Miss Boyer. So Allie, who's the one who wrote this book, has a memory point of this story. Of course, there was no gender reveal this year, especially for other teachers, but this is just an example of something that they wrote so that we can have an example of a memory. Of course, there's another memory. Then what I want you to do is kind of have a memory about yourself. Okay? So, in a way, of course, this person, Allie, chose to write her story about herself during the school year within school grounds. You don't have to do that. Maybe put a memory of something that you are proud of yourself of doing this year. We want to make sure that you know that it's not just about school, but this year is all about you. You're in fifth grade, you're graduating fifth grade, you're moving up to middle school. This is the first time, well, second time with kindergarten that you graduate, but this is the big graduation. So we want to make sure that there is something in your memory book that you can remember about yourself. So go ahead and make a page or two or however you want, how many you want, that describes something about you, something that you accomplished, something that you're proud about yourself. You may want to add some pictures about yourself. I know this memory book has no pictures whatsoever because Allie loved to write, so she was more of a writer. But you can always have a picture and a little bit of a writing. Of course, this is your book, so you decide how much you want to write and whatnot. Because this is your yearbook, remember that people will sign it and people can see your book. So make sure that you are careful with what you share, okay? So once you have stories in school, stories of you, then leave some pages in the back for signing, okay? What we're going to do is the last day of school, we're going to open this so that everyone has editing rights. And that way, everyone can sign everybody's yearbook. Now, with that being said, you are pledging to just signing in a very kind way other people's yearbook. If you don't have anything nice to say to that person, then skip the person. Don't say it. If there is something that you really, really want to say to that person, but it's more personal, then don't put it there. However, if you want to say, I hope that you have a great year, I hope that we're in the same class as in middle school or something like that, something positive, then go ahead and sign that person's yearbook. So we'll give you at the end rights. I also want to make you aware that once you have rights, you have editing rights. That means that you can change or delete things. So we want to make sure that we're not changing or deleting anything for somebody else's book. Okay. So I want you to be very careful of that just because this is your electronic book. So I want to make sure that everything is safe and that you can get to what you need. So that is what we'll be doing for the last days of school. So make sure that you create your book, that you make it pretty, that you make it about yourself. Remember that there are more things that you can write. I mean, it does not have to be just a story at school. It doesn't have to be just a story about yourself. It can be something about next year, what you want to learn. What did you learn this year? You may want to talk about maybe you met someone famous. Maybe you want to give advice to future fifth graders. What would you tell them? Um, 10 things you don't want to forget about 2020/2021, which in reality, you've lived history with COVID. So you might want to put there that you lived through a pandemic. Okay. So you might also want to say, what was my favorite subject? What did I really do well on? What was my favorite food during the school year? What special was my favorite? What books did I read? Did I learn anything special? Was there anything that stood out this year in math or in reading and social studies and science? What about a day in my life? Let's talk about maybe my classmates. Who did I enjoy working with? Talk about me. That's totally fine as your teacher, right? So talk about your teacher. What was your teacher's name? You may want to remember that. What did your teacher like? What was your teacher like? You may want to also, if you were virtual, I mean, you may want to put there that you were virtual for part of the year, all of school year, so you can remember this because those are really good memories. Did you get a new pet this year? Did you have, you know, what was your favorite color, your favorite ice cream this year? Maybe it will change next year. Did you go any places that you may want to remember? So all of these things are things that you can include in your memory book, in your yearbook. So make sure that you make it worth the time so that you can later on print it and have it. So good luck, guys. I hope that you enjoy this time during this week. That's what we're doing all until the last day of school when we get to sign. Bye.